Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space, created weekly, is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Hey, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Becoming Your Strong podcast. I just want to open up the episode today with a really big and large thank you. Last week, I had a really tough week, and the amount of people that were there to just support me, to check in, make sure that I was okay, to cheer me up, to be in my corner, it was wonderful. And I just want to say thank you to the many of you that reached out to just be there for me. It definitely meant a lot. And that sort of rolls into just the Becoming Your Strong moment of the week and overall what the podcast topic is for today. Last Tuesday, I posted something on my story where it was me working out, and I was just very honest. I shared that I was not okay. I was not doing well. And it was like pulling teeth to get me to just move my body and to do the thing, to show up for myself. And I know that deep down, like in my heart, that even though it feels hard, that I don't feel motivated, that I just rather sit there and just like curl up into a ball, the best thing that I could do for myself physically, mentally, emotionally is to move my body. And so I posted it not to like ask for sympathy. I posted it to just remind people that that they're not alone, and that the best thing you can do is remember that like movement is medicine, that it will help us process, it will help us feel fully through things. I allowed myself to cry. I allowed myself to be angry. I allowed for whatever it is that came my way just to sit in it and feel it, because we don't give ourselves the chance to do that enough. So if you find yourself in one of these moments where things are just not going well, I ask for you to be strong for yourself and to just show up in some capacity. Get through the warm up, see how you're feeling, at least do something for you, whether it be breath work, whether it be stretching, whether it be yoga, just sitting on a bike, like just find the courage to move, and you will be able to process so much and follow that with the bravery to allow yourself to feel. And I think that you're going to give yourself so much back, just like I was able to give myself so much back, and just be able to attack the week with a clearer head and just this feeling of like, I have my own back. Like I trust that I'm going to be able to handle whatever that comes my way because I'm showing up for myself in this way. So that was the Becoming Your Strong moment of the week from last week. And that perfectly, like I said, just it rolls into the topic and it inspires what it is that I wanted to talk about this week, which is this idea of realignment and becoming yourself again. And I'll explain sort of where this came from. This is vulnerable, right? What I'm asking for you guys to just be in this moment is kind and open-minded, because what I'm about to share is hard. Now, I'm not going to go through and share all of my dirty laundry, but just like the high-level things, in hopes that what it is that I went through will help you on something either that you're currently going through or something that you may go through in the future. So to give you an idea of what kind of went down last week, I had a tough conversation with a loved one, and it was one of those that just it rocked me to my core. And the important thing that I want to highlight from this conversation is essentially they were struggling to keep a positive connection to me due to some behaviors that they just weren't agreeing with. That I was saying one thing and acting totally different, that maybe they didn't know what Kayla they were going to get that day, that maybe they didn't fully know who I was, and that I was acting somewhat hypocritical. And that is really hard to share and say out loud, because when I come on here, when I'm in this space, I am 100% myself. On this podcast, I am so me. I'm so incredibly authentic. Like I feel it to my core as I say this. And so many of you are incredibly kind and share how I've changed your life because of this bravery to show up 100% me. And the last thing that I'd want to do by being honest in this moment is for what I just said, this hypocritical thought for, I would hate for my words that I share for you for week to week to week to sound ingenuine. I don't want you guys to think that I talk the talk and never walk the walk. Like that is really hard for me to come on here on the podcast and admit that that was some feedback that I was given. But when I heard these words, it was like the most interesting experience ever. The anxiety that I had going into these conversations and just even sitting in it was so, it was just tough. But the anxiety that I had, all of a sudden, just like it released its tension and I just became relaxed and I felt my shoulders drop and I was like, I can breathe. And I was grateful for this honesty and for this conversation because it was like that wake-up call that I needed to come back home to me, that I felt like I knew all the answers to the test now and I had to take back control. I had all of the control. It was in my court and I just needed to play the game. Well, not the game, but I needed to execute. And I will share this too, just to give you some lens and perspective into my world. But my life in the last 6 to 8 months has been a lot different. It's been a whirlwind. I've changed jobs. I moved in with my boyfriend. My whole routine shifted. And all of these things have pushed me. And I don't want to say it was a byproduct of the things themselves, but somewhere in the middle, I started to put unnecessary pressure on myself. I started to feel like I had to show up the best as I possibly could in every single situation, but not like the best version of me. It was like I'm working with some of the most talented people in Colorado, coaches wise, and I had to figure out how to prove that I was worthy of being there. I am now a coach of one of the best hybrid racing teams in the entire world. And I went elite last year and I had to figure out a way to go elite this year. And I have to figure out a way to prove that I belong on this team as a coach and as an elite athlete. Like it was just so much of feeling like I was trying to prove myself because deep down inside, I didn't feel enough. I didn't feel like I actually belonged there, that I wasn't deserving of it. And this is something, you guys, that I've been struggling with forever. I had some experiences as a younger gal where I grew up through school and through competitive dance, and I had a really tough social life. I was left out. I was eating lunch in teachers' rooms. I was bullied. I had massive anxiety and panic attacks. Like there was a lot of things that were going on behind the scenes of my childhood, and it's shown up in a lot of the behaviors that I exhibit as an adult today. Just again, that feeling of never being enough and therefore creating goals or showing up in ways that aren't really who it is that I want to be. Now, really what it comes down to is like my mind's like, I know who it is that I want to be. And there are certain times where I do show up as that person. But these unnecessary pressures that I was putting on myself slowly but surely, I was just building up this like gunk and this shield, this like wall that wasn't allowing for the Kayla that I know that I am on the inside to really shine through. Just the bubbly, goofy, the woman that loves to dance, the woman that doesn't care, that has no filter, like just that side of me was starting to disappear because I was trying to prove that I was enough. I was trying to prove that I belonged. And unfortunately, that started to impact some of my relationships with my people that just wanted to see me show up as me, the person that they've known, right? So that's kind of like that's everything, right? Almost out on the table there. So now that everything is out there and you have a better idea of what I went through, the question that is probably on many people's minds is, now what? Like, what did you do? How are you going to overcome this and get back to you? And what I did was I started to think about a version of me that I was like, I absolutely loved that time of my life, that season of my life, the version of me that I showed up as. I thought about moments where I was just like genuinely so proud of myself. I even think about moments in the future, like casting the vision, the ones that haven't happened yet, and how I want to show up in those moments and step into those moments, step into that person. I started with just thinking about that. And I was thinking about, in those moments where I was showing up as the person that I loved being, in those moments where I was just so proud of myself, in those moments in the future, what is it that I would be doing? How would I be taking care of myself? Like, what are the actions, the things that I was doing in the past and in my future that would help me step into that version of me that I'm sort of crafting in this moment? And the biggest thing that became highlighted to me is that the moments where I was really enjoying the person that I was becoming is I had a morning routine and I had an end of the day reflection. It's as simple as that. I would get up in the morning and I'd have what I called my cozy mornings, where I would just wake up, I wouldn't check my phone, I'd just go sit on the couch with my puppy dog, and I would read a book. And I would laugh, I would cry, I would get inspired, I would journal, and I would think about, like, what do I want to be today? What do I want to accomplish today? And I just remembered that routine just started off my day in the best way possible, to where I was just like lighting on all, it's like I was firing on all freaking cylinders. And I loved that. I loved that moment, that season of my life where I did that, and how much personal growth I was doing, to where I was like truly showing up as the best version of myself. And so today, what I want to share with you is the questions that I've started to ask myself to help me realign to the person that I want to be. AKA, I put together essentially on the mirror in my bathroom, I wrote on expo marker 5 questions that I wake up to every single morning, and I've started asking myself for the last couple of days to just realign myself. Because the truth is, like, unfortunately, my schedule doesn't allow for every morning to be a cozy morning. Some mornings allow for it, but not every morning does. And I don't want schedule, lack of time, whatever it might be, I don't want there to be an excuse. I want to be able to check that box if I was able to check in with myself and align myself every single day without there being any obstacle. So I will adjust on the fly however I need to, because I'm realizing how important this is to me. And so these are the 5 questions that when I get up in the morning, I'll go to the bathroom, wash my face, and as I'm like waking up, I stare in the mirror and I look at myself in the eyes, and I think about these things. I have this conversation with myself. The first thing is, who do I want to show up as today? And that question is just, it's everything, right? I think through, what do I have on my calendar? I think about the people that I'm going to be in contact with. I think about maybe even the day prior. Like, what did I love about the way I showed up yesterday, and how can I trickle that into today? I think about all those different things, and I answer that honestly. I think today it was like I wanted to show up calm, because I know that like my Mondays can sometimes be a little busy at the start of the week, and I wanted to show up calm. I want to be present within the moment while I'm recording my podcast and not feel rushed. I want to show up present in my classes and with my clients and not feel the need to always have the answer, always what we're doing next. Just be there with that person within every single rep and enjoy all the things that come with that, right? And when I ask myself that question and I say those things out loud to myself, when I get to those moments, I feel it and I remember, and I'm like, yes, this is where I want to be. And it's just almost like you're just continually lighting that fire and over again, because you're confirming to yourself that like you are showing up for you in the best way possible. The second question that I ask myself is, how do I want to serve today? And I know that I am in a role where I am constantly serving, but even if I wasn't, you guys, I truly believe that serving is why we're here. I think that's why we're on this earth, quite honestly, is to not just live for ourselves, but to also live to help better other people's lives. It is one of the most rewarding things that we can do. You cannot argue that with me. I will die on that hill, y'all. That when you do something for someone else out of the goodness of your heart, that you don't feel absolutely amazing and it doesn't make your life better, your day better in that moment. It's why I love to serve, is because it makes me feel so good when I get to just be a part of someone's journey. I get to just be a part of one of the many smiles and laughs in that person's day. And so I ask myself, how do I want to serve today? So that I can remember again the primary purpose of why I'm here and really put focus and effort into an activity that makes me the best version of me. The next question is, how am I committing to taking care of myself? While I love to serve and I believe that it's one of the reasons that I'm here, I also know that I can't serve from an empty cup. I can't pour from an empty cup. And so I have to be really clear on, while I'm serving, I also have to be filling up my cup just as much. And so from the movement that I'm doing to how I'm taking care of my mind to how I'm just slowing down, taking a deep breath, being calm, being silent, right? When am I taking care of myself? That's another big part of that question too, is just committing to the action and putting an actual time on it as well too. The next question is, how is life showing up for me? And I phrased it this way instead of what am I grateful for, because for some people like me, it just hits better to ask, how is life showing up for me? You could ask yourself, what are you grateful for? But if you find that like, how is life showing up for me, that you're able to think of things of like, well, I went through kind of a tricky situation or a tough situation, and I'm so grateful for it because it showed me this and I learned this. Like, I love having those conversations with myself because it's now taking the things that might have been not ideal and turning them into a positive and showing me that life is always showing up for me. There is always another way to look at things. There's always something positive to find, even in the middle of a storm. And so you can kind of interchangeably use that. Again, how is life showing up for me? Or what is it that you're super grateful for? And last but not least is I write, I am proud of how I ... I am proud of how I fill in the blank, how I showed up in this situation, how I served this person. I am proud of myself for digging really deep in that workout. I mean, whatever it is, like celebrating myself and seeing myself make progress, like just truly just taking a moment to stop and reflect and realize that like I am wonderful, I am worthy, I am enough. Like that question is the perfect like ending question, just to solidify that like I am amazing and that I always have been. And what I do as well when I do this in the morning is I make sure to follow up on it in the evening, and I talk about the things that happened throughout my day. I talk about the things that I was really proud of. I talk about all the good things that happened and just continuing to find that gratitude again and how life showed up for me. And I find the opportunity for the rest of the week, for the day that's to come of, you know, I really didn't agree with maybe how I initially reacted to this, but the opportunity and what I learned is this. And it's just such a compassionate way to talk to yourself and to again realize that like all of these habits and these unfortunate things that maybe have become a part of our like internal wiring for the last several years, they can't be changed overnight. But with these compassionate conversations, you can become more aware and you can start to build up that a different habit to replace it with over time. So this is where I want to leave you today, is with an activity that I was encouraged to follow through on, just because I will still No matter how hard I try, there will still be those moments where I struggle with being enough and feeling like I'm doing enough. So this person recommended this, saying that I think this could really help with that journey that you're on and continuing to tackle that. This person asked me to reach out to 3 people in my life and ask them what are 3 things that they absolutely love and adore about me. And to just let those things sink in and let yourself feel whatever it is that comes up for you. And what I hope that happens for you, as it totally happened to me and what it showed me, is that you have always been enough, you guys. You just need to shed the gunk that is piled on that is not allowed you to truly see that. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today. I hope that this episode truly helped. Thank you again for just being open and kind with me as I've been vulnerable through this. And if you have any questions, if you find that you're struggling with these things, I hope you have the courage and bravery just to reach out to me and say, hey, I felt really heard and seen, and ask me whatever it is that's on your mind. I am not perfect by any way, shape, or form. As you can see, I'm still going through it just as much as anyone else is. But I'm here for you in the instance that you need someone to talk to and have as an ally. So have a great week, you guys, and I will see you guys next week for another episode of Becoming Your Strong.